Book short summary of Fooled by Randomness by Nassim Taleb. Key takeaway. Randomness plays a much bigger role in life than we'd like to admit. We cannot predict the future based on the past because the future is different. Silent evidence prevents us from having an accurate vision of history. What Fooled by Randomness talks about. Fooled by Randomness is a book written by Nassim Taleb. It explains that randomness, because it is unseen, plays a much bigger role in life than we are ready to accept. The book explores many situations where randomness should be taken into account more often and explains different principles related to that topic. Taleb used to work as a trader in New York. Then he retired and wrote books. This one is the first installment of the Inserto, Taleb's series discussing randomness and asymmetry in life. The Inserto is made out of 1. Fooled by Randomness. 2. The Black Swan. 3. The Bed of Procrustes. 4. Anti-Fragile. 5. Skin in the Game. The main thesis of the book is that we often underestimate the role of chance and randomness in life. Taleb analyzes several situations where randomness intervenes without our noticing. This book had an unexpected impact on me. It killed my impostor syndrome. I learned that we are not as responsible for where we are in life as we think we are. Sometimes, randomness enables you to enjoy perks you think you don't deserve to enjoy. That doesn't mean it is wrong. Such is life. Things in life aren't as optimized as we think. Randomness can positively impact your life as much as it can negatively impact it. Just like that, I stopped feeling bad for reaching positions I originally didn't believe I deserved to reach. If it was random, why should I feel bad about it? Fooled by Randomness is one of a great book. Short summary of Fooled by Randomness. Life is mostly random. We can't perceive this randomness because our brains are not wired to. We approach and interpret life using heuristics, a series of mental shortcuts that help us make sense of the world in a logical manner. However, the way we perceive the world isn't at all how the world is. We are biased. Let's take narratives as an example. Narratives are compelling stories we tell ourselves. A narrative links a series of random actions to each other to make them appear as a logical sequence of events. For example, when I tell myself my own life story, I say that I studied for 1 year but didn't like it, so I took a gap year. I make it sound like the gap year was a logical thing to do, while it was in fact completely random. Part of the job of building narratives is creating past predictions. Making past predictions is the action of looking at historical events and making these events appear as a logical sequence, leading up to the situation we have today. Past predictions make history sound like all that happened in the past was bound to happen. For example, when we look at it today, many say that 9/11 was perfectly predictable. No, it wasn't. It only appears predictable after it happened, due to past predictions. So, what do we use past predictions and narratives for? We use past predictions and narratives as sources of information to predict the future. The belief we have is that the future will resemble the past, so if we look at the past, we will be able to catch a glimpse of the future. Unfortunately, this is another fallacy. The future is random and unpredictable. It's so unpredictable that the overwhelming majority of predictions we make end up being wrong. This is the first problem. The second problem is that we have a very narrow understanding of history. History as we know it is not perfect. It's an account of some of the events that happened in the past. It is missing all of the events that didn't happen. In an alternative universe, the Titanic didn't sink, as well as the events we don't know about. The past, as a result, is only a little more well known than the future and the present. The present isn't well known at all. Few are aware that they're living history when they're actually living history. These moments are always realized ulteriorly. For example, no one knew at the beginning of World War I that it was the beginning of World War I. Nobody can predict the future, as we said. People that do and that, somehow, end up being right every time. For example, legendary investors are called lucky fools. Lucky fools exist because enough people tried to do what they did so that at least one would succeed. For example, if 10,000 people try to become day traders, at least one will succeed out of mere luck. Out of these 10,000 people, the successful ones, the survivors are hailed as legendary investors by the press, while their success was likely due to mere luck instead of skill. One person, eventually, wins the lottery because there are enough players for that to happen. The rest of day traders, or lottery losers, those who failed, are called silent evidence. They're evidence that predicting the future isn't possible. But they're not taken into account in the press, of course. Failure is invisible. Business books are always about people that succeed, never about those that lose, except for what I learned losing $1 million. Business books don't take silent evidence into account. Silent evidence is another reason why we can't trust history. Since we can't trust history, it would be foolish to believe we can predict the future based on the past. And even if we had a perfect picture of the past, we still wouldn't be able to use it to predict the future since the past does not resemble the future. There will always be events happening in the future that have never happened before, hence impossible to predict. These events, when unpredictable and with high impact, are called black swans. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share. See you in next videos. Long summary of Fooled by Randomness, which more detail. See the link in the description.